said, you guys had 8 sacks on the day. How's that chemistry on the defensive line going right now, pretty early in the season?
Honestly, it's going real good, knowing we got a brotherhood up front. All 4 of us, even the people that rotate in, we got a real tight brotherhood. We've been around each other every day, so it's been going good.
You've been here, you were here last year as well. You have a new coaching staff. You have a new defensive coordinator.
Right.
How has that influenced your play so far this year?
I'll say with who we got in, I love them. So that's why I'm glad I stayed, because I love our DC, I love our OC, even though I don't talk to him that much or he hates me. But, I mean, I love it. I'm loving the new coaches that we got. So they got us together for sure.
Jacob Pearsall, Appalachian Weekly News. There were a lot of ebbs and flows in this game. The momentum really swung back and forth.
Right.
When the other team gets that upper hand, how are you able to keep the team cool mentally?
Just stay composed. I mean, it's football. Anything can happen at any time, so just stay composed. It's football.
Dylan Shepard, the Appalachian, your defense, especially that defensive line, held Lindenwood to -1 rushing yards on the day.
Right.
What was the focus as far as scheming goes during practice this week, and how were you all able to execute that on the field?
Stopping the run. We know we can rush. We know we can do that. But if we stop the run, that's when we get the rush. And like y'all said, we had out on sets today. We probably would have had more. So just stopping the run, then being able to rush and do our job.
Trey Blake, the Appalachian. Thomas, you went out in the middle of the game. Kind of came back 100% better.
Right.
I mean, you were kind of just on fire all over the place.
Right.
What was going on in the tunnel? I'm sorry if I don't know the word for that, but
nah, you good.
What was the mindset coming out of there?
There's a little poke in the eye, ain't nothing to me. So just know I got to put my team on my back and just fight for my brothers. They'll do the same for me, so why wouldn't I do the same for them? Knowing we got to come out and even go harder. We ain't up, so keep going.
Any other questions? We got a couple up here.
Thomas, you guys had 3 sacks in the first half. Then you
Right.
come out of the halftime locker room and you have 2 on the very first drive.
Right.
I mean, I know you probably stuck to your fundamentals. It was probably the regular game plan, but it felt like maybe there was a little added enthusiasm coming out of there. Talk about coming out of the locker room at halftime.
Coming out of the locker room, we knowing that we up by 1 touchdown, so we got to go hard. We got to run around with our head on fire. So just knowing we need them stops, and if we get a big stop on defense when we come straight out the tunnel, like that's going to be big for us. So getting that stop on defense like we did, and that just set the fire.
You guys had them on the run all day. It felt like they were scrambling. They made some stuff happen,
Right.
some open field stuff. As you think back kind of to what you were seeing in the moment, what are the things you guys think you can take away from that you can apply going forward?
I say as a D-line, just condensing the pocket. As a defense, just knowing our assignments, completing our assignments, and doing what our coaches tell us on and off the field. So just knowing our assignments on the field, just executing it way faster and better, for sure.
As you head into next week, it gets real because you start conference play.
Right.
And that's a whole different level.
Right.
You've been here. You know what this conference is about. You know,
Right.
what will be your message as a team leader?
As a message, keep balling. Eliminate the mistakes that we made today. Clean up a lot of stuff that we did today. And we know it's conference play. We owe them boys, so we got something coming. We ready.
Thomas, how did the injury earlier in the game impact you the rest of the way?
I say we started off a little rocky, but just knowing we got to keep putting our head up and just keep going. Keep going.
How has your role this year changed, being one of the few people who's left from last year, and just having to take more of a leadership role with things this year?
I say as a leader, I'm not very a vocal person. I'm a very vocal person on the field, though. But outside off the field, I'm not a vocal person. So just knowing on the field, my brothers need me, and I need my brothers. So I can rely on them, and they can rely on me. So just knowing that my leader role is just attacking my brothers and keep doing what they can do, and just making sure we can execute everything.
Oh. We have one special guest here.
Okay.
You have a question?
You got a question, E?
Yeah. So, how you feel about the next game coming up? What Southern Miss?
We're going all the way over there, so I'm expecting big things from our defense for sure, and our offense. I feel like we should just ball. That's all I'm gonna say. Just ball. That's all I'm gonna say.
One more question. So, how you feel about practice this week?
Oh yeah, it got to be harder. It's gonna be harder, and I'm gonna make it harder. All of us, we're gonna make it harder as a team because we know what we need to do and what we need to execute and how we need to execute it for sure. Appreciate you.
Thanks, TD.
Thank y'all.
Good answers.
Thank y'all.
Questions?
Elijah, you got a late start today. You had to sit out that first half. How do you kind of get yourself into game mode when you have to sit and watch for 2 quarters and then you come in post halftime?
first and first, just staying present, just taking mental reps, just throughout the sideline. And then from there, just encouraging my brothers and teammates, that's out there. So, I have to make sure that, I'm the best, cheerleader out there, for my brothers and teammates.
Since you had to stay on the sideline for that first half, were you able to sit over there maybe from a different perspective and see what Lindenwood was doing so that when you came into the game, maybe you were a little bit ahead of the curve?
Yes, of course. And then just going off of, practice and as well film breakdown, it was the same exact thing they was doing. We just had to be more alert on the plays and things like that. And I feel like second half he was. So, yeah.
Same question I asked Thomas at one point. They made some stuff happen. You guys had them kind of scrambling all day. It felt like things were out of sync. They managed to make some plays there, and you give them credit for that. But what are the main things that you think you guys can take away, especially in the secondary, after what you saw today?
Yeah, basically just executed for sure. And then just getting the ball down. We can't have the quarterback scramble a lot of times or, everywhere around the field. That's something that we just can't have happen. It kind of weighs down. It kind of tear down the secondary in a bit. So we for sure have to fix on how can we get the ball down fast and as well, head on to the next play.
Elijah, they scored on that 4th and long. Then they come out and get that onside kick. What's your mindset going back on the field after that?
Let's finish. Straight up. I was screaming all day. I'm like, I see, everyone else complaining like, F, da-da-da, cursing and all that. I'm like, man, come on, let's just finish. Like, let's just somehow finish this game somehow, some way, This is just like, offense ain't, really, put up more, much points. But, defense, we could, control what we could control. So let's finish through. So, yeah, that was the mindset.
It was kind of like poetry. It was the same play. 4th and long, again, the quarterback throws it to the end zone. You come down with it. What was going through your mind when that ball was in the air?
Really, I wanted to pick 6 so bad. But, I had to think of game situation. Coach DJ always teach us, Coach D'Lo, Coach DJ always teach us situational master. So around that time, my flesh was telling me, man, pick 6. Let's just go ahead, score this one. And, up the point. But at the same time, I had to, do it for the team. So I had to really, take a church, meaning, just go ahead, get down and then just take the knee and then had the offense, get back and, just finish the game.
Jacob Pearsall, Appalachian Weekly News. We talked about how you missed the first half of this game, but coming back both as an individual and as a team, how do you find that balance of that aggression between going too far and playing hard enough to win the game?
Just really being focused for real. Like, it's kind of to a point, I don't got to do too much. Just go ahead and do my job. Don't be too aggressive, but at the same time, be aggressive. So just really being there, just having that midpoint.
Adam Persico, 90.5 WASU. Elijah, what has the shift been like under a new coordinator like DJ Smith? I asked the same thing to Thomas, but you mentioned that DJ's a situational master. Can you elaborate about that a little bit?
Yeah, so we all focus on end the game, end the situations like that. Second half, end the game, or end a half. And then just things like that, and he kind of pick up on like third down situations and just things like that. And then, with DJ, he really focused on details for sure. And then, on top of that, being, having a great execution throughout the play that he's calling. So what Coach DJ, I respect him a lot because he's a coach that I could really trust on making the right calls and then knowing that the defense is going to execute the right way.
Okay, thanks, Elijah.
Of course. Thank you.
DJ, when it came the opportunity for you to get the interception, what'd you see in front of you and what made it possible? Because a lot of stuff was going on up front, sure, too.
Yes, sir. Those guys up front, they're going to handle business. It all starts with them every play. I was just in the post. That's just my job. I was just playing what I'm coached to do. I was doing what I was coached to do. I think Emery was into the boundary. He was guarding the intended receiver. And I just saw the quarterback, look his way and, break his hands. And I just broke in the ball, ended up finding me.
There are a lot of things statistically, and you have to be careful over analyzing stats sometimes, but you held up to negative rushing yards today. They were 3 for 17 on third down. You had a couple of turnovers along the way. You know, there's a lot of stuff there that suggests you really kind of manhandled them, but they still made some plays. They still hung around, stayed in the game. How do you fight the frustration of knowing that, by and large, you know, we're really playing well in a lot of ways, but they're still continuing to kind of be here and make some plays?
All right, we got to get off the field. You know, that fourth down at the end of the game, you know, we can't let that happen. But, you know, to hold them to negative rushing yards, that's a big deal. But it's just the little details of things, you know, not trying to do too much, you know, do what we're coached to do. And those things are going to handle itself, and we'll be a lot better.
You've been around here a few days now. You know what it means to kind of turn this corner and head into Sun Belt play. What's really important to zero in as you guys get ready to head to Southern Miss this week?
We just got to go 1-0. Sun Belt's difficult. You know, you never know who's going to win each and every week. And we got to have that mentality that any team can beat us and we can beat anybody at the same time.
Jacob Pearsall, Appalachian Weekly News. It seemed like you guys really had a fire in you after that first half coming out of the locker room. What was your mindset and what was the team's mindset going into that second half?
It was just we need to finish. You know, we were already up at that point. You know, we just need to win the next 30 minutes and handle business.
Adam Persico, WISU. I've asked the other defensive players about this. There's been a big change in the coaching staff. You know, you have DJ Smith as the new coordinator. What kind of changes have you specifically worked on with the new coaching staff and with Coach DJ Smith specifically throughout this year and to get to this point?
Like I said, it's just the details and things. You know, we don't run too many coverages and fronts and all that. It's really just honing in on those just a couple plays that would be taken into a game plan, and just, you know, understanding the details, understanding the weaknesses, and, you know, doing what we're coached to do.
Dylan Shepard, the Appalachian, kind of going off of Adam's question, what are some of the in-game adjustments GJ's telling you throughout the game, especially as it gets later into the game with the third and fourth quarter when Lindenwood's still within striking distance?
It's just little things. You know, just, you know, if you're in man coverage, you know, burn eyes on your man the whole time. You know, don't look back at the ball. There wasn't too many, you know, in-game adjustments, I wouldn't say. It was just more, you know, line up, play ball, do what we're coached to do, that we got, you know, throughout the week.
All right, thank you, DJ.
Yes, sir.
Jacob Pearsall, Appalachian Weekly News. You guys have a lot of new faces on the O-line this year. What has it been like building that chemistry, and how do you keep building that chemistry throughout the season?
It's been great. We just take it day by day, get closer with one another. Big things working on the communication, you know, on and off the field, just staying tight.
Adam Persico, 90.5 WASU. So early on in the season, you've seen a lot of success from Rashad Dubinion, the running back right now. I mean, how much of a point of emphasis was run blocking coming into this year compared to pass blocking when people expected a very pass-heavy offense out of you guys?
Yeah, I'll just say this is App State. We love to run the football here. We've been doing that. We're going to keep doing that. But, yeah, Dub's been great for us, man. I mean, he ran hard today.
Dylan Shepard, the Appalachian. Y'all on offense had over 200 yards rushing, and you as a unit gave up only just one sack to Lindenwood. How much pride do you take in being able to give that push offensively and to be able to protect your quarterback, you individually and as an entire offensive line unit?
Yeah, I mean, we take great pride in that. It's our job. You know, we don't always get, you know, thanked for what we do. You know, we go under the table sometimes, but we take great pride in it. Like 200 yards rushing, that's great. We should have more. Dub's running the ball really well. We want to keep AJ as clean as he can be. It's our goal.
Jayden, second quarter, you guys came out really fast in the first, obviously. Second quarter, only 13 plays, 4 minutes of possession. It looked like maybe things got a little bit out of sync. Did it feel like that on the field, or, you know, what were you guys talking about on the sideline there?
I wouldn't say out of sync. I'd just say we got to take better care of the ball. That's it. Just take better care of the ball. That's it.
You came out of halftime, and it was a little bit like last week, where the running game kind of started gaining momentum in the first half. In the second half, you really leaned on it and kind of rammed the ball down their throat. You know, was that part of the plan coming out at halftime? Did you guys talk about that?
Yeah, we did. Going into it, we were running the ball well. We knew that, so we came out with the mindset that we're going to keep running the ball and we're going to keep doing it well.
Last week, AJ, and I think this is partly a function of he'll just stand in the pocket and take the hit sometimes to make the right throw, but he ended up getting popped a couple of times pretty good. Today you kept him really clean. There was one sack. I think there was one quarterback hit other than that. You know, in 36 passing attempts, that's not bad. What'd you guys feel like you were seeing up front from Lindenwood?
We knew Lindenwood was a big pressure team. They run a lot of games. We've been practicing all week on picking them up. Feel like we did really good at that. Still some things we got to get fixed, but for the most part, I feel like we did a great job of protecting AJ.
Jayden, Trey Blake, Appalachian, you guys had 5 penalties on offense today. You know, coaches talked about, you know, you just got to do better.
Yeah.
You know, how can you do better?
Just correcting stuff. I take it we had a lot of illegal formation calls, which, you know, that just goes to practice. That ties into doing the right thing, being lined up in the right place at practice, starts there. And, yeah, we just got to get them cleaned up because, I mean, if we don't have them penalties, it's a different game.